Left Alive got poorly received by critics, but for some reason I can't put it away, and I want to obtain every achievement for it. That 8.5 user score must mean this game has charm to it, right? In total, the game has 49 achievements. I feel this is a great list that truly wants you to look and try out everything the game has to offer. I finished the game twice before, and during those playthroughs I've already unlocked 27 achievements, meaning this will be our starting point for this video. A great feature in this game is the New Game Plus mode. I will try and do every side mission and get the best possible ending during this playthrough. Each time you beat the game, you unlock perks to use in New Game Plus. You get points by picking up killed in action beacons you find throughout the game. The last 7 I need will unlock after beating the game 3 times, which will hopefully help me for my hardest difficulty run. Let's get things going with Chapter 1. I will be looking for 4 archives, and we have to keep Alexander alive for the best ending. A nice way to start off the series is that I can already get an achievement here. Let's go! The first archive is at the starting point. Just turn around and grab it. Archive number 2 has been put by the trash in an alleyway. Number 3 is chilling right next to a cop car. And the last archive is having fun on the playground. That's all collectibles for this mission. After the Wanted Turret section, you will talk to Alexander for an achievement. You just have to ignore the answers and let the timer run out for a secret dialogue to play out.
Right.
1 achievement unlocked.
And take this. Pay it for me, would you? It's a bill from Paradise Burger.
What?
I'm counting on you to clear my good name. I'm no dine and dasher.
To obtain the best ending, I have to reload the checkpoint and pick other dialogue options.
How am I supposed to look after you in this state? Go get us some help.
Quit acting all tough, old man. Or shall we call the game here and now? It's me, what is it?
Chapter 2 has 5 archives to find and 3 survivors to rescue. Our first archive is right at the start of the mission. Number 2 is at the east side of the map, resting against a wall. Here's our first survivor. Let's escort him out of here.
The enemy is approaching.
Archive number 3 is at the middle area of the map. Let's get our pants dirty and obtain it. Be careful with survivor number 2. Once the mission appears on the map, go for it. They could die when you wait too long. Shoot those 2 soldiers, wait for the area to be safe and talk with the remaining survivor.
I think that's her. Where is she? I know that, but you don't have to be so heartless about it. Yeah, you're right.
And boom! Second survivor
Affiliate
brought to
subject
shelter.
of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
The 4th archive is at the outer side of the abandoned hospital, next to the fence. For survivor number 3, we have to clear out the enemies that appears after talking to him. Let's do that and bring him to shelter. One more thing to get, and that is our final archive. It's in the abandoned hospital. First door to the left in the hallway. Time to run out and head to our 3rd mission. For chapter 3 we have to collect 5 archives and rescue 5 survivors. I also want to obtain the Pyromaniac achievement. First archive is near the beginning. It is heavily protected, so let's grab and go. The sewers offer a great opportunity for the Pyromaniac achievement. I crafted an enemy sensor to see auras and followed these 2 soldiers. They kinda gather with another group, and with an empty can I bait them to get close to each other. chuck some Molotovs in there and whoosh, we've obtained Pyromaniac. A bit after that, we get archive number 2.
Caution. The enemy is approaching.
The first 3 survivors are all together. Shoot the soldiers before they kill them. Doing this also gives you the A Courageous Decision achievement. But I already had that one. Talk to them and escort them out of here.
Subject of protection evacuated to shelter.
The third archive is near the next survivor, cozy in the corner. Here it gets a bit complicated and easy to mess up. Pick the right answers or she'll kill herself.
How is this our fault? I know how you feel. I know we just met, so... Everything I've done will have been for nothing if you die.
I'll stay alive as long as you do.
Subject of protection
After
registered.
that,
Searching
don't
for route.
rescue her. You want her to stay put and focus on the main objective next. There's another survivor that will die if you are too slow, but be cautious. I had to restart twice because once I got to the other survivor, a soldier found this one and I couldn't make it back in time. That's why I thought it was better to move her away a bit, hoping it would help. Arriving at our main objective, be sure to give this survivor a medkit and don't give him ammo.
Chance have any meds or anything on you, do you?
Use this.
It's payback time.
I'm not sure if other options work, but this made him follow me to the shelter.
I still got some fight left in me. You don't have any you could spare, do you?
You got a death wish or something? Don't be stupid.
Back on my way to the last survivor, I was looting stuff when suddenly
Protection has encountered the enemy. Go to the rescue. Subject of protection has encountered the enemy. Go to the rescue. The civilian is under
the random
attack.
spawns of enemies are so crazy and unpredictable. I felt a rush of adrenaline while running to her. Let's just save her and get this over with. Our second to last archive was right next to the shelter, so thank you game for being so kind. The last archive is all the way north, passed out next to the bar. And that's it. Time for Olga and mission 4. Chapter 4 is packed with enemies, but that won't stop us. The first thing we do is find a survivor and bring him to safety.
You're a cop, right?
You weren't able to get out in time, were you? Whoever you are, a civilian is a civilian.
After that, our first archive awaits us across the bridge. Let's take it with us. Our second archive is near the Memories of the Past survivor. Obviously our next step is to then help the survivor I just mentioned.
What
Poor
about
guy
her?
lost his wife.
It wasn't your fault. Why do you want to talk about that right now?
Then I took a quick detour on the ground to grab a file. Our last survivor lost his daughter. She was about to get married tomorrow. We need to play along in his delusion for him to follow us.
I'm glad you had a good time, but now it's time to evacuate. Then let's get going. Do you mind if I pick the place?
Be careful here because there is a tank on the path to shelter. I've decided to play decoy and aggro the tank to look at me. This gave the survivor free passage to run to the shelter.
Subject of protection evacuated to shelter.
This library card was a pain to get. It is so far away from everything and a lot of enemies will bother you. I wasn't done yet. I've noticed fire extinguishers and there's an achievement to extinguish yourself with one. I guess I was dumb in believing I had to be on fire first, but no. That did not give me anything. Then I thought in reverse and decided to shoot the extinguisher first and then Molotov myself. And it worked! Firefighter achievement unlocked. Chapter 5 introduces us to the Looter. He is an NPC that wants you to find valuable items for him. So besides the 5 archives and 4 survivors, that's what we'll be doing. The first Looter item is at the very start of the mission. Let's get it. Our first survivor awaits a bit further. This man can't find his daughter, so we'll see if we can help him out.
Her name is Veronica.
In the meantime, we pick our first archive from one of the offices. And the second one outside near the tents. Why not get number 3 as well, near the blackboard at the construction site? At that same construction site, we'll have Looter item number 2. This site just keeps on giving. There's a survivor waiting for us here. It went a bit cuckoo, but pick the right options and it'll follow.
Look. It's retribution.
I'm sorry. I was one of the ones in charge of the Liberation Group.
And that's another one rescued. Here's the Looter. We already have 2 items, so let's just give it to him.
Hold on a sec. Let me see. Hey, this is
For
pretty
each
nice.
item you give, you receive something else out of 4
Pleasure
options.
doing business with you.
Our next survivor is in the sewers. Get rid of the enemies
You
and
don't look
rescue him.
Harmonian.
Straight to our 2 next Looter items. One is at an enemy camp and the other one is on the side part of the giant building. Our 4th archive is at one of the building blocks near the main objective. And the last archive is in the objective building at the entrance. I went back for the Looter to make him satisfied.
I'm out. I got other jobs to do. Catch you later.
Our last survivor lost her
Are you
husband
defending
and
the
wanted a
soldier?
wedding ring. Let's help her out.
Thank you.
To my surprise, the husband also had a letter with him. I wished I could have given her the letter too, but after the ring the option was
I'm
gone.
so glad you found it.
Curious as I was, I opened it and this is what it said.
Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
I thought chapter 6 would be pretty straightforward, but it turned out this mission was achievement heaven. Besides the normal stuff, I wanted to get the Exsanguinator as well. I have to let 50 enemies bleed out for this one. At the start of the mission, there are throwing knives you can grab. I've used these to kill 5 soldiers in the area and then I reload the chapter. Rinse and repeat until I got it. Doesn't this arm look extremely odd? The heck?
I need something to stop the bleeding.
Our first collectible is in the same area, near the statue. Then we have 2 survivors who are connected.
Don't shoot.
This guy ran away
I'm not
from
gonna
someone
kill you.
because she started shooting the entire group. We have to bring him to a shelter, which will not be the same shelter we'll bring the woman to. Otherwise, my perfect ending achievement is unobtainable. First, we walk with him to the construction site, and then we guide him to the shelter nearby. It's best to save here since a tank near the shelter could make things miserable.
Civilian subject of protection.
It's okay.
Now the
I'm a
woman.
friend.
Pick the right options and bring her to shelter.
How can you say that?
On our way to the shelter, we pick up the second archive. The third archive is near one of the bridges on the sidewalk.
for?
Refuse the body armor from the next survivor and convince him to guard the shelter
What,
to make
you're
him
just
follow
giving
you.
up? Don't be such a wuss.
Let's quickly grab archive number 4. It's near the main objective building. Around that same area, I've noticed it's swarming with drones.
Caution.
This
The
made me
enemy is
believe I
approaching.
could get the It's Electric achievement, which requires you to stun 4 drones with 1 EMP grenade. So that's what I did. One more achievement done. Our next survivor is at the back side of the main building. Pick the right answers and get her to safety.
Okay, we're in a state of emergency.
Subject of protection evacuated to shelter.
The last archive is near Boonin in the main building. Time for Wanzer action. I could get 2 achievements here. First, I had to get rid of all my ammo, so the Wanzer will use its fists. After that, I punched the Wanzer 3 times in a row for the combo achievement. And another one for destroying it with my fists. I felt motivated again.
You were piloting that one.
After the Wanzer section, a survivor spawns where you could find the looter in chapter 5. He'll give you an item since we impressed him so much.
I want you to have this as thanks for one hell of a show.
Chapter 7 has 4 archives and 3 survivors for us to find. This mission also has powerful explosives, which we have to grab and put in the item box for someone to use. Our first survivor doesn't want to leave his deceased wife. We talk to survivor number 2 and he'll help us convince him later on.
I can tell from the look on your face, he refused to listen to you too.
Up next are the powerful explosives. They are pretty hard to miss since they are on your path to the main objective. Survivor number 3 is a familiar one. He's being nice as always. Let's pick the correct option so he'll follow us.
Oh, enough.
Subject of protection evacuated to shelter.
After that, we go
Let's
back
go.
to the first survivor
She would've wanted
and he's
you to
convinced
survive.
now to get to the shelter.
Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
Our first archive is in the corner of an enemy camp. Thank goodness there was no wind, or number 2 would end in the water. Archive number 3 got tossed out of the front door. And the last one is almost a copy of the second one, just in a different corner. In another warehouse near the main objective, I found myself another powerful explosive. Now I had to go and put them in the item box for someone else. And that's it for chapter 7. Chapter 8 has us going for 4 archives and 3 survivors. The first archive is not too far from the start, between 2 containers and a green car. Second archive is under the bridge around the middle area.
Caution. The enemy is approaching.
Our first survivor seems familiar. She even says the same dialogue.
Soldier, right?
This one has lost it completely. Let's get her to safety.
I really don't know what I should do.
Get to the shelter and stay there.
Our third archive is in the barn on the upper area. And the final one is near the 2 Wanzers near the apartment buildings. Our final 2 survivors are together in one area. The man is outside being scared, and the woman inside is disappointed the man pushed her towards soldiers to save his own skin.
Ever so grateful if you helped me.
Since we need a good ending, we have to convince them to come to the shelter together.
No way in hell.
Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
Last thing we need is to pick the right dialogue options with Sophia.
Look up evil in a dictionary, and I bet you'd find that guy's mugshot.
I don't know anything anymore.
Who knows what that old man's capable of?
You know about Ruslan.
What do you know?
I don't know if there's anything I can do. I think you're starting to grow on me. I'm going to find Leo.
Will you be alright by yourself?
Chapter 9 brings back the looter and 4 items for him to collect. On top of that, we'll get 3 archives and rescue 3 survivors. The first 2 survivors are at the start of the mission. Turn back and you'll find them. The father doesn't trust us and we'll need to pick the correct answers for both of them to be rescued.
Pipe down and listen to me for a second.
In my uploaded playthrough, I only managed to get the daughter to follow me.
All the army's gonna find here are your corpses.
Who put you in charge anyway?
I'm not trying to take charge of anything. Sorry, but there's really no time to think it over.
That I leave my father behind? Dad, we should go.
Once rescued, we will get our first looter item. It's near the shelter from before. Our first archive is at the side of the giant building, also near the shelter. Our last survivor wants us to get a family photo, otherwise he won't come with us.
Family portrait.
Before we get the photo, there's another looting item there. We grab that first and enter the sewers near it. The sewers has a pocket watch, which is a third looter item, and an archive waiting for us. Now we grab the family portrait, bring it to the man and get him to safety.
It's you. Did you find it?
I'll cover you. Get going.
I've randomly found a new weapon. My inventory was full, so after clearing it and picking up the weapon, I've managed to get the straight flush achievement. What a pleasant surprise. Up next we meet the looter again. We give him the 3 items and get the last one just around the corner.
Catch you later.
The last archive is in the sewer area next to the bar. Let's get it. During our dialogue with Sophia, we always have to pick the upper option for the best ending. Then another surprise. At the start of the mission there was an extra cutscene I had not seen before. I guess this is because of the good ending and doing everything. Normally this mission ends, but suddenly we had to find that guy again from the cutscene. But besides some extra dialogue, nothing happened.
We'll have your comms fixed in no time. So, what's your plan now?
I'm going to the harbor. Someone asked me to babysit a kid there.
Chapter 10 has my favorite achievement in the game. It's called Taken for a Ride, and it's simply different than anything else in the game. First we will get our archives, starting off with this one at the start of the mission. Look at this sick jump I did to grab archive number 2. Our first survivor is, it's this woman again. We slowly lose our cool here, but let's get her out of here anyway.
Managed to slip by the enemy without being seen and make it all the way here is beyond me.
I really don't know what I should do.
Look, I'm asking nicely. Pretty, please. Don't leave the shelter! You're right.
Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
Our third archive has company from our second survivor. He got injured, so let's get him to safety.
I think I've had my fill of playing soldier.
Subject of protection registered. Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
Now we start with taking for a ride.
Please help me!
We find this woman in
Calm
panic
down.
around the
Tell me what
apartments
happened.
area.
We were hiding upstairs and then all of a sudden enemy soldiers ran in. I didn't think, I just bolted, but I don't think the other girl made it out.
Where were you? This building?
Yeah, on the second floor, number 205. Please, you have to help her.
Okay, you wait right here until I get back, understood?
She wants us to check out some rooms. But when we check, nothing is there.
Hey, anyone here? Say something if you are.
And she ran off to another apartment
I
complex.
told her to stay here. Where did she run
Let's
off to?
find her. Here, she'll convince us again that she heard something and we should check it out.
Oh, you're that soldier from before. You got out safe and sound.
So this is where you were. I thought I told you to stay put until I got back.
Forget about that. Listen, I just heard screams coming from inside the building.
Maybe that girl you told me about earlier ran in here. All right, guess I gotta check it out. Can you tell me where you heard the screams coming from?
The third floor. I'm pretty sure.
All right, I'll be right back. So stay here this time, okay? Koshka, mark the third floor rooms for me.
Be careful.
Let's be a good soldier and clear out the rooms. But again, nothing.
Seriously? There wasn't anyone anywhere I looked. The hell?
And the woman ran away again.
How'd you get to this time?
Let's do this one more
Give me a
time.
break.
Oh, you again. You're still alive. I waited and waited and you didn't come back. I was so worried.
I'm the one who was worried. I told you not to move until I got back. I just barely made it out of there.
Oh, really? Just barely. Well, forget about that. I saw enemy soldiers chasing after this woman. She ran inside this building just a few minutes ago, but the soldiers followed her, and then I heard gunshots after that. You can help her, can't you?
I don't know how to put this nicely, but who the hell are you?
Are you scared? I knew it. Even soldiers are desperate to stay alive.
Fine, fine. I'll go check it out. Koshka, mark the rooms in this building for me. It's gotta be the next one.
In one of the rooms we investigate, we'll find our last archive for this mission. And we finish this side quest in the next room.
Hey, hold on. It's her. That woman from before. How did she end up dead in here?
Analyzing corpse. I believe it has been at least 3 hours since her death.
What? That can't be right. I was just talking to her a little while ago.
What conversation was that? I have no records of you ever speaking with this woman. The only recent data I have for this area is of you talking to yourself, Mikhail.
But I swear she was just... No way. There's no way.
I almost had you.
Koshka, what was that voice just now?
Did you hear something? I did not detect anything.
You can't be serious.
Chapter 11 has the last survivors and archives to collect. We also help out the looter for one last time. Speaking of the looter, he is close to the start of the mission. Let's start the quest and roam around this place.
Oh, it's you again.
Our first archive is on the opposite side of the fence we started at. 3 more to go. Our first survivor is also a bit different. They are hiding in a locker instead of being visible in the open. Let's pick the right options and get them to safety.
You gotta get out of there.
Wait, I'm coming out.
Subject of protection evacuated to shelter.
Our first looter item is next to a corpse in the apartments. And the second one in between two warehouses. The second survivor only spawns when you've talked to her father all the way back in chapter 5. She's not too happy about the relationship with her father, but let's convince her to get to his shelter.
Hey, what's your name?
Veronica. Why?
I knew it. Your pops was looking for you.
Yeah. You must think I'm a monster. I don't know.
Civilian subject of protection safely evacuated to shelter.
After that, her father will spawn as the third survivor. He'll appear once you get to the bridge. Let's run back and talk to him.
Something happened.
We'll tell him about his daughter and bring him to the same shelter.
Where is she now? Thank God. Show me how to get where she is.
Now we quickly grab our third looter item and we are almost done with it. The fourth looter item is also outside near the water. That's all of them. We then have one more archive in the warehouse next to the main objective. Time to make the looter happy with all we found.
Man, I've about had it up to here with all this running around. Then I got one last job for you, pal. Tell me how to get to the shelter.
Of course, Your
He'll
Majesty.
turn into the last survivor we need and woohoo! All survivors rescued! We still have 3 chapters left. They're all short and there wasn't too much I could do. I have used chapter 12 to get the Wanzer Buster achievement. For this one I need to destroy 10 Wanzers on foot. This mission has a few Wanzers walking around and enemies that carry the rocket launcher. It's a perfect match, really. Here's the last one I need. Just 3 more shots and the achievement unlocked. At the end, we just have to pick the right options to save Yulia for the best ending.
I want to help you.
I don't want to be alone anymore!
You have me.
Chapter 13 had nothing to offer besides picking the right options for the best ending.
Kill me and end this farce. A little late for dads now. Soldiers kill their enemies.
Chapter 14 is the final chapter of the game. Here I'll do a little trick to get the bullet collector achievement. This one requires you to have the maximum amount of ammo for 5 firearm types. For this I changed my difficulty to hopeless, where our ammo limit for each weapon is way less than in casual difficulty. This automatically lowered the ammo I've collected so far to the limit for hopeless difficulty, and so unlocking the achievement. I finished the game for the 3rd time and felt very satisfied seeing the ending credits. Everyone who could survive did so, and seeing the witness list being completed felt amazing. I have also gotten an extra cutscene after the credits.
Case number 2127 KL716591. Topic of study: behavior under extreme duress. Data transmission complete. Updating causality program database. Deleting local data. Proceeding to the next phase.
And that's Survive and Thrive unlocked. Now let's go back to our list, and we see there's only 8 achievements left to go. and number 8 unlocks after getting the other 7, so things are looking good. Now came the part I feared the most, playing on the hardest difficulty. But actually, it was super easy. I've speedran through the game, I maybe died 3 times in between, and another 4 times during the final boss fights. But before I get to that, I was very lucky to get my database collector achievement here. I thought I would unlock it after finding every archive, but that wasn't the case. Apparently there's a weapon in the item box that I've never picked up. I thought I would need it for hopeless difficulty, so I finally grabbed it. Doing this gave me the last data file I needed for the achievement. Here I've just cut to the credits again after beating the game on hopeless. You can see almost everyone died and there are no witnesses. So that's 3 achievements in a row for that, and I could already smell the 100% completion. Sadly, the last ones were a bit tedious. I had to defeat 100 enemies using offensive gadgets. So I went back to where I farmed for the exsanguinator. I had to kill 80 more enemies with throwing knives. It took a long time. There was still a survivor related achievement left as well. We have to put 2 groups of people who don't get along in the same shelter, but this has to be done in one playthrough. This starts in chapter 5 with Veronica's father. We talk to him, so she and him spawn later on in chapter 11, meaning I had to play through half of the game again. Up next in chapter 6 we have 2 survivors in the northeast corner, the woman that shot the entire group and the guy who managed to escape. It's very mean what we're going to do here, but we have to put both of them in the same shelter. Lying to the guy we haven't seen her anywhere, and then bring him to her. Nothing happens yet when you do this, but after the mission, there'll be a skull next to the man's name, meaning she killed him as well. Doing this got me the no complaining achievement. Now the last one. I hated this achievement. You had to use every gadget on any of the 3 playable characters. I thought doing this with Olga would be easy, since she's the only one with the stun gun and she has the crossbow early on. She's also the one that finds the explosives for the EX gadgets. I had done everything besides the incendiary grenade. In my hopeless playthrough and the cleanup playthrough, I couldn't find a single one with Olga. I did find some with Leonid, but Olga would never be able to retrieve it from an item box if I left it there. It was frustrating to say the least. So I managed to do everything again with Leonid, and luckily it simply unlocked after using the crossbow and an explosive bolt. And that's all of them. I feel really accomplished and proud to complete this list. Doing a video for it motivated me even more. It makes me want to do more games I've left unfinished. Thank you for watching, and if you hunt for achievements or trophies as well, good luck.